Hello and welcome to another interview here on the channel. I'm Daniel Roman for winteriscoming.net, and with me today is a very special guest, Penny Johnson Jerald, who plays Dr. Claire Finn on the Seth MacFarlane-helmed comedic science fiction drama, The Orville. Penny, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for that introduction, because I think you nailed what we are about, right there. I thought you were going to stop at comedy. Then I thought, I'm going to have to correct him. But you did call it a drama. So
it is. I've been watching since season 1. I know it's not just a comedy. The show's awesome. So you got to get the fine tuning right. So let me ask you, The Orville New Horizons is airing now on Hulu, and it's so much bigger and more ambitious than anything the show has done before. Have you been surprised at all, by the overwhelmingly positive response this season has gotten? Or did you just know there was something special coming this time around?
Well, that's a loaded question. Let me start at the end.
Okay.
I truly, at the beginning, when, we were told we were going to Hulu, I had no idea. But once we started filming, I thought we are really doing something explosive here. This is not episodic television. We are doing movies. And knowing that while we were filming, and as long as it took, I thought the fans are either going to love this or they're going to want that old school episodic, which I'm sure they don't really. So I'm happy about the response.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely walks that line, because they are kind of episodic, but they feel almost more like you said, like movies. It's been really cool to see how the Orville has adapted to switching mediums like that. So, question about Dr. Finn, maybe more than any other character on the show, she's a lot of different things to a lot of different people. She's one of the few crew member who's a parent. She has multiple romances. She's obviously crucial as a doctor, and she's been spending more time with Commander Grayson as a friend this season. What's your process like for playing such a multifaceted character?
It helps that I am actually a woman, and we are multifaceted.
That's fair.
I mean, we do all kinds of things. I mean, never underestimate who we really are as beings. We're three-dimensional. And I think that the beauty of the way Claire is written is that she is three-dimensional, like a real person. And I give kudos to the writers and definitely the creator, Seth himself, but also just the fact that wanting to represent and not leave anyone out. You can't please everyone, but every person who identifies as a woman knows there is so much about us. We have careers, we raise children, we are bosses, we are caretakers, or we're all those things. We're sexy, we're not so sexy, we're smart, we're funny, we're all those things. And so I'm just ecstatic that I'm able to play that, because mostly you don't get that on television. You get a one-dimensional person, character, and you just go with that. You always know what that person is going to do. And I think that the world and the fandom is, I think it's ready to see everything, all encompassing,
Yeah, absolutely. It's wonderful to see that on a show like this, that type of deep writing because you're right. Claire does feel like a real person, and all the characters on this show do. And that's definitely a testament to it. So hopefully
thing that future will all be real. Hopefully in the future we'll all be real. We won't be these real shallow people. Will be, deep in thought and caring and speaking our minds and being able to be who we truly are.
Yeah, it's science fiction not paving the way, but kind of exemplifying that. It's always nice to see that in a show like this. So one thing that has gotten quite a bit of screen time this season that I was curious about is Claire and Isaac's romance. I think ever since that was first explored in season 2, fans have been curious to see where that would lead, and have really enjoyed, watching you and Mark Jackson play play those scenes out. What were the behind the scenes discussions like about their relationship going into New Horizons? Because it has had quite a bit of focus.
Well, oddly enough, we didn't have those discussions too much with Seth. But Mark and I, we've been talking about it from the beginning because it was really so odd. I'm thinking I'm the only one with kids and I end up with these objects that I'm enamored with. Not only that, I'm falling for. And Mark and I would always play the game behind the scenes. What if this happened? What if that happened? What if that happened? And sure enough, I think that Seth, being the kind of writer that he is, he listens to not just what's around him. He does read, what the fans say or what they enjoy. And I think that colored their relationship a lot. Like hearing, they like that little romance and where would that go? I did think it was odd because I thought, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
I mean, Claire is smart. She's not just in love with some metal. There's something about him. And so Mark and I, we had that discussion, and she has to fall in love with if he were a person, what he would be. And again, in the future, I've been reading this book, and oddly enough, I have this book right here because
what's
Seth
the book?
gave it to me, and it's like incredible. It's called Immortality.
Okay.
And I was reading it, and at the beginning of this, it talks about that life really is about preparing for death or defeating death. I mean, everything you do in life, you wake up, you do all these things so that you can stave off death. But there's a section in the book that talks about that we are made of minerals and chemicals and things like rocks and stones that we see. And as I was reading this, I thought, wow, that's so true. So Claire can definitely fall in love with Isaac because he's not that far from human, because we are all of those things. Part of his metals are inside me. So I know that's kind of deep and all, and I wasn't thinking that at all because I just started reading this book. But I think it works that way. I think that we can find something that is common and that is so common we can hold on to, that we could take that journey together because we have that in common.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so beautiful. I didn't expect the deepness. That's wonderful.
Okay, I went deep on you. I see the expression on your face.
I love it.
It's classic.
I love it.
Or should I say
all about it. So is it, talking about finding those commonalities and those things to fall in love with, and imagining what Isaac would be like if he were a person, which is kind of what the episode did for viewers. That's one thing I love about the Orville, is that it takes those, what ifs and then puts them on screen for viewers to experience it. But is it challenging for you as an actor when you're doing those romantic scenes with Mark in the full suit? Do you ever have moments where that jars you out of it?
Okay, first of all, let me be really clear. Mark is a cutie pie, and I know that.
Yeah.
So just like an actor imagines that what if, I don't have to really do that because I know the real Mark behind the human form that's playing this character. However, Mark does such an exquisite job in his emotions, to me, always has been expressed through his hands and the movement of his hands and just the small movement of the face. And coming from the theater, I studied mask work with Pierre Lefebvre. So old school. So mask work is very, very important to me. And Mark obviously has studied mask work too. So what's wonderful about mask work is that as an actor, you are able to imagine the heart of what is being masked. So I think that background helped me a lot. But knowing Mark truly is an asset because I know that if he does like this, I know that Mark, what he's doing behind that, Oh,
that's cool.
We get to rehearse without that on. So I can, I have that to remember.
Cool. And you guys got a scene in the latest episode where he didn't wear the suit, which happens very rarely. So that was wonderful to see. You know, he cracked a smile, I think, for the first time ever on the show. What was filming that scene like? What was that like on the day?
Wow. I have to tell you that that was the first scene after the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
When we returned, Mark and I were ones to go back. And when we went back into rehearsing the dance sequence. So
Cool.
we were rehearsing the dance before we started shooting. And it was scary at first because we both had, you know, we were both away. I mean, he was in the UK and I was at my farm. And so we had to trust one another because we rehearsed in our masks. We did everything right and everything safe. But once we got in front of the camera and we were in full costume, and Mark without costume, but in full costume, it was a Fred Astaire moment. It was a Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers moment. And we took it very seriously because we wanted to sell it to the audience. I'm sure that a lot of people were thinking, what is this with this robot and this doctor? But we wanted it to be completely genuine. Yeah. And so there was no masking. I took away the doctor. Mark took away the suit, and together we were exploring that first time. It's kind of like the first time you see your kid discover that they have a leg and they can like stand on it. So everything was an element of surprise for us, and that's what we went with.
Cool. That scene was so beautiful. The Fred Astaire moment, it definitely came through, I think. You know, in a season that is littered with beautiful scenes, but that to me is one of the standout moments of the season so far. So I wanted to ask you, so the Orville is a show that's clearly been inspired by like the various Star Trek series and other sci-fi stories that came before it. But you were actually on Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. Have you always been drawn to science fiction? And if not, what is it about these stories that hooked you?
Oh my gosh. Glad you asked. And fans, please don't hate me on that one, but still follow me on Twitter and Instagram.
Okay.
I was not a sci-fi person at all. And most people who have been in any of my talks, they know that. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I thought it was like phony television. And I didn't understand how and why an actor would take a job doing something like that, you know, until I did Space Nine. And when I did Deep Space Nine, I thought, wow, you must apologize to the entire fandom because this is way better than Shakespeare coming from the theater. This is like, you have to take this elevated speech or this elevated time that people have not experienced in real life. And you have to make it real. And you have to be put in a situation where they can identify themselves so that they can keep watching. And that to me is what hooked me. The stories on Deep Space Nine were relevant stories. You know, about people, situations that people, you know, would happen upon today. And the Orville, oh my goodness gracious. Every time there's a table read and I'm looking and hearing these voices and the story for the first time, I have to look over at Seth and go, whoa, this is deep. This is something I want to watch. This is something I want to be a part of. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess you kind of led right into my next question, which was I was going to ask how it's different working on something like Star Trek versus the Orville and what it is about the Orville that drew you to it. I think that the big difference is in the story. Yeah. The storyline. Because there's so much going on in the last year. I mean, you know, last 5 years. That we could draw from. I mean, not that nothing was going on in the 90s. We had our share of things, but there's so much that's going on in today's society. And it's so much that's going on that's affecting so many different kinds of people. Yeah. And I think that's the drawing card. And that is the big difference, that we are in an age where we can tell these stories and we can start these conversations and people can understand, or at least begin to understand, why others are different to them or why it is that we're just alike. And we're just experiencing these things in real time.
Yeah, that makes total sense. The Orville, it has felt, and I know that you guys filmed like quite a while ago at this point. It's been uncanny how tuned in it has been to current events. Cause like, you know, the Krill episode aired the same week that the very heavy news about the Roe versus Wade stuff happened. Something like that. It's like, you can't plan that. It's just a testament to kind of the foresight of the series.
You know, that's a really good point, because when we were at the table read and the Krill episode, I said, this is a very important episode.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking Roe v. Wade. I was thinking of all of the fathers that have been coined deadbeat dads. And this was an episode for them to shine. Wow. For people to know that there are fathers who want to be part of the lives of children that they're separated from. I truly believed in this storyline, and I said, and it has to be done with such sincerity and depth, because you're going to be speaking to a generation of future fathers and future children from homes that are, or blended homes. And how do you do that? And then when I watched the episode in the wake of the Roe v. Wade, I thought, my gosh, this is our abortion episode. Wow. Yeah. Who would have thought it, you know?
Yeah. That is, not to say it's a smaller part of the episode, but it's like an hour and 10-minute long episode. And that section is very small time-wise in the episode. There's also a lot of stuff about populist political movements in that episode. So it's amazing the breadth of the storytelling going on there. So let me ask you, because I know we're pushing time. I don't want to keep you too long. If the Orville, and again, this is something I know we can't talk about too much, but if the Orville happens to get a 4th season, what would you most like to see for Dr. Finn's future?
Oh, wow. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah. You might as well say it now so Seth can take notes.
I'm telling you, I'm a firm believer in that the Orville cannot finish after season 3.
We're all hoping.
I know the future episodes that are happening, and they're standalone, you know. We could say, nah. But I don't think fans will be satisfied that, wait a minute, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I want to know what happens, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
As far as Claire is concerned, I would love to see how her children, how the children mature.
Yeah.
They're already big now.
They are.
But it's wonderful to see the development of the real future, and kids are our future. And so I think that storyline would be very important. And I would love to see some kind of discovery, some scientific discovery as far as diseases and something like that would give someone hope. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll say it and maybe it'll happen.
Yeah.
So that is what I would love to see, something like that happen in the future for Claire. But definitely I'm game to do as many seasons of the Orville that I can physically do.
I hope.
What can I say? I'm game.
That's awesome. I hope that you get that opportunity, because the show has been amazing, and this season especially has been fantastic. And yeah, it'd be nice to see Dr. Finn's kids grow up, more than they already have, which is quite a bit since season 1.
They could captain the ship. How about that?
That'd be a cool way to end things, her kids captaining a ship themselves. Okay, so gonna end things on kind of a fun note with a couple of rapid fire questions. You ready? Okay. So Dr. Finn works real hard, an awful lot. I love when shows like the Orville and Star Trek nod to characters having secret vacation dreams. Like Janeway always wanted to go to Lake George in Voyager. What would Dr. Finn's ideal vacation spot be?
Ghana.
Ooh, okay. I want to ask why, but it's rapid fire. Okay. We'll leave the mystery. What member?
There's a reason.
Okay. There's a reason. Okay. Can I ask a snippet? Short, very quick. What's the reason? Because
Penny just did a film in Ghana, and it changed my life.
Oh,
and I love to see Dr. Claire Finn go back there because there's some things she would definitely do. And it would be exciting to the world for them to see what changed life.
That's fascinating. Can I ask what the film is? Are we allowed to say?
I think it's the title. I don't think they've settled on the title, but it's a docu-film.
Okay. So we'll have to keep an eye out.
About the life of W. Du Bois. So
cool.
It's very fascinating.
Cool.
I'm playing Shirley Du Bois, so it's exciting.
That's awesome. We will definitely be keeping an eye out for that. So what member of the Orville cast, so actor, not character, what member of the cast would be most likely to injure themselves repeatedly and need Dr. Finn's help on a regular basis?
Wow. Oh my gosh. Peter Macon.
Okay.
Because he has so many kids and he's moving so fast. So, well, he only has 2, but he moves fast. He's always parenting. So, Peter.
Okay. That sounds legit. All right. Last question. Can you tease what lies ahead for Dr. Finn and the rest of the Orville crew and the rest of New Horizons in 5 words?
Give us another season.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Okay, that was only 4 words, but there you go.
But they were 4 really good words, so we'll allow it. Penny, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so very much.
It's been wonderful. For those of you watching, if you haven't been tuning in to this season of the Orville New Horizons, it's airing on Hulu. New episodes drop every Thursday, and this season has been something really special. So if you haven't watched it yet, do yourself a favor and do that. Don't want to miss it. I'm Daniel for winteriscoming.net, and we'll catch you next time.